Jai Hind, this is Brigadier Hemant Mahajan. Firstly, I want to congratulate all of you on the 24th anniversary of Kargil War, also called as Operation Vijay. It was on 26 July 1999 that the Indian Army uh, killed the last of the Pakistani soldiers who had intruded onto the icy heights of Kargil, and Kargil was completely freed from the Pakistani army. So this occasion is celebrated every year on 26th of July, and we have a war memorial at Dras, from where all these places where the battles were fought can be seen very clearly, and it has become a very important spot as far as the tourists are concerned. Now, in today's overview of important activities that have taken place in and around India on issues which relate to India's national security, I'll cover a large ground. I'll talk about issues which affect internal security, issues which affect external security, issues which affect the way we are fighting multi-domain war against India, so on and so forth. A lot of important activities have taken place, and let us cover them one by one. The first important issue was that China issued staple visas to Arunachal Pradesh athletes who were taking part in the university game. This is illegal. India has said that it is unacceptable, and the whole team has decided that it will pull out of the university games. Why is China doing it again and again? China tries to act tough and give a message at regular intervals that it is a tough country to deal with. So therefore, India also has to retaliate. Can we give a stapled visa to Chinese people from Tibet, Inner Mongolia, Xinjiang, etc.? We must do it. The second issue is about Saudi Arabia, which is likely to build a refinery at the Gwadar port of Pakistan. It will be worth $10 billion. Remember, Saudi Arabia had also said that it would build refinery in India's Konkan area, but the Indians did not want it to happen there. Lot of agitation started against the land, etc. And now the Saudis are building a big refinery at the Gwadar port. But this will not help Pakistan in earning too much of money, simply because 40 to 50% of the investment in this refinery is going to be from Pakistan, and the oil that will be refined will only be useful for Pakistan. It will not be able to export them. Maximum, it will mean that they can produce oil in that area. But the most important part is the refinery safe from the Balochistan Liberation Army? The Pakistanis have not been able to keep their uh, various assets which are there in Balochistan safe, because the Balochistan Liberation Army, which wants independent Balochistan, keeps on attacking them. The next issue pertains to Pakistan and Afghanistan. Pakistan's special envoy was on a 3 days mission to Kabul, and the basic aim was to tell Kabul or Afghanistan that it must control Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, a terrorist group which is operating from the soils of Afghanistan. This group wants Northwest Frontier Province, or also called as Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, to be part of Afghanistan, and they are carrying out repeated attacks on the Pakistani army. Now, Pakistanis and the Afghanis had a long discussion, but the Pakistani delegation returned back without any success. In fact, the Afghanis told Pakistanis that you should not touch the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. The next issue pertains to Jammu and Kashmir. For the first time in many decades, the Shiites in Kashmir held a Muharram procession in Srinagar. Now, this basically shows that overall security situation in Kashmir is definitely improving. Earlier, they were scared of carrying out any procession. The next issue was a talk between Mr. Ajit Doval, the National Security Advisor, and and Chinese special representative Wang Yi, who has now become the foreign minister of China, in which China said that we should forget the LAC, we should stabilize our relation. Mr. Dowell told him, no, till the time the LAC issue is resolved, no, the relations cannot be normal. In fact, India gave it back to China when China wanted to built a $1 billion worth of electrical vehicles battery plant in India. But India decided not to do it because this was the way to ensure that Chinese were not allowed a free run. The next issue pertains to Indian Navy, which is going to test first unmanned surface vessel in the coming months. This vessel will be unmanned and it will be used for mine sweeping, etc. So this result has been built by them and testing will be done in a short while. The next issue pertains to Second World War. Naik Yashwant Gadge of the Maratha Light Infantry had got Victoria Cross in the Battle of Italy, in which he fought single-handedly. He captured a post for the Allied armies. Now a memorial has been built to commemorate the good work done by the 50,000 Indian Army soldiers who fought for the liberation of Italy from the Nazi occupation during the Italian campaign or World War II. Now this memorial has been built in Italy and a memorial service was done there, which talks about Naik Yashwant Gadge's single-handed contribution to liberating Italy. Next issue pertains to US military. It is facing a serious problem. Basically, it is not able to get suitable enough young people to join the armed forces because no today as the country grows, as the opportunities increase, no young person wants to join the armed forces simply because that life is tough. They have to keep on moving around. So the days of USA having a volunteer army is going to change in the days to come. In fact, it is said even now 30% of the US Army today is foreigners, like the Nepalis, like the Indians, like the Bangladeshis, like the Pakistanis who join the USA Army, and after they have served in the US Army for 3 years, they are given a citizenship. So therefore, USA, just like USA, Russia, and China also has a problem in ensuring that the military strength of the US Army is all volunteers. The next issue pertains to China, which is building a very major waterway. It is one of the biggest waterways built in 700 years, and going to be 135 kilometers long, and it is basically a Pinglu Canal in China, which will come inside the Southeast Asian countries. But environmental feel that it is going to be a disaster. Next issue is about the Wagner army, the private army of Russia. Wagner now is a history, but Russia, what it is doing is it has put Wagner into jail, but the Wagner army's work, which was going on in many countries, including smuggling, including acting as mercenaries, including controlling economic resources there, is going to be done officially now by the Russians. But however, taking over a complex network of companies belonging to Wagner army will make their takeover a huge challenge. This will be one of the most complex corporate takeover in the history, seeking a control of the Wagner paramilitary group, which has a sprawling global empire. The USA allies have carrying out an exercise in Australia, which is basically a message given to China. This exercise involved 13 countries: Australia, Korea, America, etc., Japan. This was basically to tell China that should there be a problem, all these countries will come together. The next issue pertains to Indian Army, in which a Aadhaar enrollment center for the Indian Army has been inaugurated. It will be manned by the Army Postal Service, and this at various places will ensure that the Aadhaar data, if we are to change it, if you have to amend it, if you have to do again, do your iris scan, etc., will be done in those centers. That's a good news as far as the armed forces are concerned. Let's talk about some of the internal security issues. The International Monetary Fund has revised the economic forecast of India for this year, and it says that it will be a 6.1% and it will be the fastest growing big economy. While as far as the China is concerned, the upward revision is there, but it is much lesser than what China has been able to achieve, and whatever it lost during the pandemic is losing its momentum. The next issue pertains to the shortfall of 11,266 young officers in the government of India. Now, this shortage is alarming, and this is there for Army, Navy, Air Force, all of them. Let us hope that government uses the short service entry will make it more attractive to mitigate the shortage of the officers at the level of lieutenant, captain, and major. India has already started manufacturing C-295 aircraft for Indian Air Force, and India is also in talk with the Airbus to set up maintenance, repair, and overall hub for C-295 aircraft, which are being operated by a number of countries, including the UAE, Philippines, Thailand, etc. The Hyderabad-based facility of Tata Group, in collaboration with the European aviation major Airbus, has begun the manufacture of C-295 transport aircraft, which will replace the aging Avro fleet of the Indian Air Force. The next issue is that the Indian Navy is all set to manufacture Scorpene submarine. These three Scorpene submarines are being built at the Mazgaon Dock Limited in Mumbai in partnership with the French naval group, and they are designed to hunt down the enemy submarines and the surface ships. Very recently, India and United Kingdom held a first defense military technical cooperation workshop, which will ensure that the defense cooperation between the two countries increases in the days to come. The next issue pertains to world's food security. The world's food security is in great danger because two of the biggest food growing countries of the world, that is Ukraine and Russia, now are at war, and no grain is able to come out of the Black Sea. In fact, Ukraine had a very good harvest, but they are not able to get that harvest out of the Black Sea towards the countries of the world. So therefore, there's going to be a huge shortage as far as grains are concerned. In fact, it has come to light now that Russia is targeting ships which of Ukraine, which were carrying grains for export. Now, seeing this, India has decided, even though it has a huge surplus of wheat and rice, it is decided not to export it, but to use it to improve the flow of grains into the market. So India will keep on releasing food grains available in its central food stocks at a regular level, regular interval, so that the prices do not eat up. The next issue pertains to countering China's multi-domain war. For this multi-domain war, it is very important that you require all the countries of the free world to come together. And these countries include Australia, India, Japan, United States, and everybody. China's previous foreign minister was absent for nearly 6 months, and now it has come that he has been removed as a foreign minister within 7 months after getting the job, and he's disappeared from the public scene, and he is being replaced by his predecessor, who was the previous foreign minister. China is also helping Pakistan to modernize the navy. The aim is not to modernize Pakistan navy, but Pakistani navy will get submarines from China, will get some surface ship from China, and this Pakistani Navy will basically secure China's energy routes coming from the Gulf of Hormuz, going via Malacca Strait. So, Pakistani Navy will basically provide ensure the security of the Chinese trade. Now, next is about the technological wars which is going on between the USA, the Western world, and China. USA is trying to control technology which goes to China, and it is ensuring that advanced semiconductors and machines that make them will not be sent to China. Japan has also started imposing control over 23 type of chips which Japan is to send to China. Similarly, the European companies are also trying to do this. So therefore, US-led blockade of China will ensure that the technology from the Western world does not reach China, and it is definitely going to increase the degree of difficulty as far as China is concerned. The next point pertains to China's unemployment rate, which is increasing because of Chinese clampdown on the private sector, the foreign direct investment, etc. The number of Chinese which are unemployed is as high as 21%. The next let's talk about the water security. There are reports that the Chinese regions in the drought-prone areas are drying down. Yangtze River, which is there, is also dry. So China has made big plans to transfer water from Tibet and from the water surplus areas of north to the Chinese south. Now this is ecologically it is going to be a disaster. So the world is watching with their fingers crossed. Chinese money is no more welcome in the Western market, and the USA lawmakers have told the USA government that certain Latin American banks in which the Chinese have infiltrated should be freed from the clutches of China. The Sweden, Finland, and Switzerland are considering security links with the United Nations Guard. They want to ensure that their country remains safe if Russia attacks them. Ukraine war, there are only two important issues. One is China has realized very important lesson from the Ukraine war. One, of course, is the risk of using force and the limitations of a war, then the limitations of Western sanctions, and a direct clash with USA and its allies is going to be dangerous. As far as the Russian youth is concerned, it is fed up of the Ukraine war, and it is told the media that it does not want to be a part of the Ukraine war. It says that this war is dragging on unnecessarily. They want to lead a normal life, and they are very clear in their mind that Russia is unlikely to win this war. Therefore, Russia is facing further problems as far as recruitment of Russian youth to Russian army is concerned for the Ukraine war. I'll stop here. Thank you and Jai Hind.